The IKO is a loudspeaker instrument. It's a 20-sided object. On every plane you find a membrane. We use ambisonic beamforming for producing very narrow beams so that we can actually produce very strong phantom sources, so to speak, on surfaces. So it's an instrument for spatial compositions. The first reaction that I get from people a lot, people feel that sound is coming from different directions and it's very, very physical, almost sculptural. You wouldn't take your finger and say, it's coming from here, there. You would actually immediately do something like, it's somewhere and it's like there. You start to feel areas, more so object-like phenomena. I think when you are a composer and a sound artist, you have an idea what the IKO should do. And you say, okay, beam me this sound there. Very simple. Then you have to ask yourself, or maybe the IKO is asking, do we really hear it from there? And then you start walking around. This is another paradigm shift. Normally, people would sit in the studio in something they would call a sweet spot. But the IKO does not have such a sweet spot. So you have to stand up from time to time, because the IKO is using the features of the architectural space. So some sounds are much stronger, others are more absorbed. Working with the IKO is teaching us to understand sound as space and not sound in space. I remember, it must have been in 2008, I found myself in a presentation of the original IKO. And it was a presentation only for engineers. Franz Zotter, who built the grandfather IKO, he produced a very strong beam, third order ambisonics, and he used equatorial rotation. It was then that I realized that I hear a single rotation, but I hear heavy noise from there and lighter filtered noise from there, and I hear something from there and it changes while the beam is rotating, and that is the whole world. The experience was strong enough to tell this is pretty close to the utopia of electroacoustic composition. Edgar Varese in his writings was talking about sounds that are actually like objects, planes of sounds. Yeah. With the IKO, even in 2008, everything was there. It was buggy, it was shaky, it wouldn't run all the time, but for 30 seconds or 1 minute or something, you could really experience this is Edgar Varese. That is when he was writing down his utopia of future music. One of the very intriguing features from the beginning was mobility. After a while working in the field, you know that every system sounds different. And there it was, the mobile IKO. It's like as if I take my piano on the road and put it somewhere else. Custom-made case. This case is actually really shielding the IKO from everything that touring demands. We have this one cable that comes out of the IKO and goes to the amplification, and about 250 watts per channel. So that's insane. Yeah. you need 2 people to put it onto the stand. That's everything, and down again. But from there, you can pretty much handle everything on your own. Within the past only 5 years, we played, I think, 40 concerts in 40 different venues. And that's what I call mobility. So Zagreb was 2015. It was an invitation to the Islog Festival for Contemporary Sound, and that was the first time that we showed pieces that I composed only for the IKO. We were able to play the same concert in different architectural environments. If you really want to understand the IKO, you actually need the possibility to hear the same piece, the same sound sculpture in 2 different architectures. And that was what we did. First evening was in the French Pavilion with a reverberation time of over 6 seconds. So impossible for normal loudspeaker systems. And the next night we were playing at a gallery space, very different architectural features. And it was actually a very important experience for myself to understand what the IKO is doing in a large volume and in a smaller volume. It was a sound installation at the Fuhrwerkswaage Exhibition Hall in Cologne. The idea was I place the IKO in a very special architecture and install the sonic sculpture, and then I step out. So no explanation whatsoever, no graphics, no, let people live with it. And I could experience all the features we were talking about coming together in a very refreshing and interesting way. So you see how people react towards the IKO. They stand in front of it and then they walk away. And then they stand with a head towards a door or to the wall. And then they lay on the floor. They interact not only with the IKO, they forget about the IKO after a while. They interact with space. Actually, they're producing their own space. And you can't say anymore they react to the loudspeaker. There's more. So ZKM, Center for Arts and Technology in Karlsruhe, Germany, opened a highly interesting exhibition in April 2019 called Negative Space, about sculpture in the 20th and 21st century. And it was the perfect timing to go there and play classical electronic loudspeaker music interpreted with the IKO. In one evening, we played piece by Stockhausen, Oliveros, König, Xenakis, and it worked surprisingly well. I was approached by lots of old school electronic musicians, loudspeaker composers. I mean, they were really touched. Sculptors were coming to me, people working not with sound were coming to me, and they were saying, okay, I clearly experience a sculptural form, and not only in space, but as space. So it's the sculptural form is producing the space. I never wanted to convince anyone, but once someone is telling you as a sculptor, this is convincing as a sculptor, that's nice.